which is on topic critical mass and tipping points, the power of collective change. And for the same, I would like to invite Ms. Shreyasi Singh, who is the founder and CEO at Harappa, giving a brief learner learner-centered institution of the future committed to empowering its learners with Thrive skills, an essential set of cognitive, social, and behavioral skills to enable individuals to continuously succeed at every stage of their career. Please welcome Ms. Shreyasi with a huge round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just going to pick up, just quickly to understand the room, everybody is a learning custodian who's responsible for designing learning programs for your teams and companies. Yes? Yes? Okay, good. Let me just get started. Of course, I hope some of you have already heard of Harappa and that we focus on what we call our Thrive skills, which are essentially cognitive, social, and behavioral skills that we believe individuals, teams, and organizations, of course, need to succeed. But let me be provocative. I've been very wrongly labeled as a thought leader, as all speakers here have been. So let's do some thought leadership. I think Gaurav very interestingly said, and I'm constantly in conversations with learning designers. I feel like we need to defend this combination between human and digital, to believe as if they're binary forces at this time. And therefore, I thought, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you watched a play? No plays? When was the last time you watched a music concert? It's been 2.5 years? How many Netflix movies have you watched? Right? When was the last time a poet or an author performed in front of you for their poetry to touch your heart and move your mind? Was Romeo and Juliet performed in front of us for it to be an iconic tale? Right? Did Premchand, did we all have the pleasure of meeting Premchand to remember, some fascinating stories that have sort of part of Indian psyche? So I think as thought leader, one of the biggest thoughts, I think this, also another question. How many of us remember, can you name me 5 amazing teachers from school and college? Names of 5 teachers who've changed your life. You, one person out of how many? 5? Wow. 15, 20% of the people? Right? Just a quick point, just to remember, as a thought, all of us are thought leaders, and all of us have a real responsibility, me as a founder and CEO of a learning company, all of you who have to listen to us and so that you can create interesting learning programs. I think this notion that we have, that we've all spent many, many classroom sessions in schools and colleges being uninspired, right, because of whatever. So I think just the belief that you have to be in front of someone to make a difference is fundamentally, I think, a thing that we must question. And I think there are many, many things. The most important songs that we remember forever, we don't even know who wrote them. We've never met the speaker, we've never met the singer or the composer, have really changed our lives and touched our hearts. So I think that's a really, really powerful thought for us to remember before we get too much into this confrontational and adversarial debate about human versus digital. Gaurav, I think it's not about you. I think we all believe that. I constantly hear this in all conferences. And that's really sort of, coming to the topic that I've been entrusted with, critical mass and tipping points. And I think that's, no one system is amazing. Of course, if you have an amazing mentor, of course, if you have an amazing teacher, they can teach your life. How many times will you get amazing teachers and amazing mentors for 10,000 people, for 15,000 people, for 20,000 people available at any time when you want to learn, right? I think there are supply constraints to that thing, right? And if you genuinely have to raise the bar, raise the standard of the organization that you're a custodian of, the team that you're a custodian of, we all, as much as we need some amazing mentors and teachers to touch our hearts in one-on-one conversations, the fact is to really be able to sustainably and significantly raise the bar, we will need to find solutions, right, for unleashing human potential, which can get us to critical mass and tipping points. It's only when you can get to critical mass and tipping points, not one CEO being amazing in your company. That's not going to do anything. What will she do, right? It's not one head of sales being amazing. What will she do? It's not your CTO being amazing. What will they do? If the rest of the team, we're only as good as the people around us, right? And that's how much we can achieve. So it's very important to understand critical mass and tipping point. And for your size and scale, what does that look like? And for your size and scale of trying to reach critical mass and tipping point, what solutions do you really need? We've named our company Harappa, so you can understand there's a lot of pride in sort of, the cultural heritage of this country. And of course, we're in August, and it can't be, I can't lose that opportunity to talk about the fact that, there is all of us, if we're here, I think we're all in a very privileged positions to be able to design learning for adults. I genuinely feel, and I've said this often, that I feel like learning L&D professionals are really at the level of great teachers, school principals, college principals who change your life. Our education systems have been are so ill-equipped, are so underdeveloped, that really true education happens at the workplace. We learn more at work than we probably have ever learned in schools and colleges. So in that sense, all of you are vice chancellors, deans, principals, head of department, head of faculty, because we're bringing those programs here. And in that sense, that's the freedom to thrive that, all of us have to focus on, and certainly India needs to. Of course, at Harappa, this 75th year just seems, in a way, perfect for us to be talking about the freedom to thrive, because our curriculum of Thrive Skills has 75 Thrive Skills, right? And so obviously it goes perfectly with that. Our yellow, the Harappa yellow, is essentially the color of Haldi. So we said, like, Haldi makes India thrive. We hope that the 75 Thrive Skills make India thrive as well. I'm not going to obviously bore you with any of this. I think whether you call it Industry 4.0 skills, future of work skills, soft skills, managerial skills, leadership skills, essentially all of us mean a combination of these skills. Essentially, as professionals out in the world, or as human beings and fully functioning adults out in the world, we're essentially expected to think in a good manner, solve problems, communicate, collaborate, and lead, right? And that's lead others, lead self, and lead change. This is essentially the 75 Thrive Skills that we focus on at Harappa. And again, don't want to preach to the converted. All of us are here because we all know this, right? And of course, we're all at different points of action on this. But of course, we know that everything around education, employability gap, the fact that you need these skills, they're important, the skills that transcend functions, domains and disruptions. Of course, that it's these key skills that really lead to the most important jobs, whether AI job needs great problem solving, data analysts actually need great business storytelling. You can have the data, but if you can't make sense of it, you're not very useful to anybody that you're presenting to, because the data can be used and misleading. But let me come to the meat of the presentation, right? And the point that I was making, of course, these 75 Thrive Skills are important, is if you genuinely, and that depends on, not every company, every learning program needs to do this. I think it's as important, as much as India needs super highly specialized, 20 people, highly selective cohorts, right, for some disciplines. For these skills, because they've usually been so ignored in our education system, the fact is that we need to mainstream them, and they need to be available. And haven't we all felt disappointed when we've trained or got a learning program to 50, 100 people, but even they are not able to sustain that learning, because actually till the environment change, till there's a shared vocabulary of the same skill, values, I think, go down. Sort of, we all know what happens to values and the ability to communicate values, because a value like integrity, a value like trust, a value like innovation means so many different things to so many people, that structured learning programs that can be scaled is the only way to get tipping point. You don't need 100 people, 100% of the people, but really if you need to make a change, you need to at least get to 50% of your team, or 50% of your workforce if you genuinely want to make a change. And you can decide not to make a change on all the 7 values you have. But if for a year, if there's one value, then really the way to be able to feel an impact of that value being communicated and it's manifest in your cubicles and your meeting rooms is for it to go to at least 50-60% of the people, right? And that certainly can't happen in trying to do too many one-on-ones, right? Of course, one of my favorite books by an author called Malcolm Gladwell, The Tipping Point. He's written some fantastic books like Blink, Outliers, bunch of them, so please, you can go check them out. That's true of freedom struggles. Anything important needs collective effort. Anything that sort of, goes through any kind of big change needs collective effort. This is the other thing. This is, of course, you need collective level. And I'm not making just because I'm an online learning company, and we do have both blended programs, which is asynchronous and synchronous and self-paced and live. This is a larger point. We have all kinds of products and programs. But I think really for large companies, this is the only way to do it. And we're asked, hey, you guys only have 75 Thrive skills. Let me go to some other library which will have things on Python, which will also have data science, which will also have supply chain inventory management. It will have, I don't know, how to do great on Tally. Then it will also have some how to speak well, right? And that's what everyone needs. Well, actually, science says, and how many, I am a really poor user of Amazon Prime, Hotstar, and Netflix because I get so confused, waste 30 minutes trying to figure out what to watch, get tired, spend more time on WhatsApp messaging someone and go to sleep. How many times has that happened to all of us? The decision fatigue of making a decision on what to watch, what to do, which book to read, right? So the ideal choice is not unlimited choice. The ideal choice is a greater virtue than unlimited. Who has time to figure out what the best choice is from 200,000 courses or 800,000 movie titles, right? Don't you trust the movie that somebody tells you this is what you need to watch today? You're in a crappy mood, you've had a terrible day at work, I want to watch a romantic comedy, right? That's the kind of thing you want. So your ideal choice is what ideal for you at that time. It's usually never for most people unlimited choice. Lack of constraints and abundance of choices is not really an ideal human situation. So, you don't need so much. We need to have the right environment and just enough choices that you can be distraction-free and yet make a decision. Just the right sprinkle, right? I think we feel like in designing learning programs, you have to do too much. Sometimes you have to do much less to make the larger impact, right? And are we focusing on that? And does everybody need 30 hours? Who needs breadth and exposure? Who needs depth and expertise, right? And how much of what do you need? Great recipes are built like that. A little dash of the right thing at the right time is what makes a great dish, right? I feel, again, we do too much. Often we do too much, right? When you need just the right sprinkle, are you throwing your pantry at that problem? When all you need is a little bit, but for a lot of people. Or CXO training gets 70% of the budget. Same 20 people are going to Harvard, going to IIM Ahmedabad, also getting mentors, also getting coaches. What's happening to the bulgy middle of managers who essentially run companies? In many ways, right? And then covering all of them in a sustainable manner rather than everybody doing amazingly intensive programs where, then there's lots of amazing LinkedIn posts about how this mentor changed my life and that coach changed my life forever. Your life forever. Your organization's life, your team's functioning. Who are we responsible for? One person's transformative experience or the transformation of our workforce and our organization? So just the right sprinkle is what you need. I mean, we all know about the Pareto principle, right? That most of the impact, 80% of the impact comes from 20%. Usually in most business data, I think this Pareto principle plays out to be quite well. Are we using it in learning? And how are we using it in designing our learning programs? Right? Another thought to leave you with. This is my favorite quote. I heard this 7-8 years back because this is Jeff Bezos' favorite quote. It's a Latin phrase called gradatum ferociter, which essentially means step by step ferociously, right? And as much as you need just a little and lots of people need a little, rather than 10% people need a lot, the fact is, as learning providers, as managers, as custodians of people's growth and learning, we need to know that we have to be patient. We expect, and we're asked these questions all the time, and I'm not saying that as you'll be our clients, to not ask us the questions on ROI, training, and impact. Somebody's already been to school for 12 years, have done 6 years of higher education, still don't know how to write an email. You'll come to us for a business communication program and say 10 hours, three 90-minute session. Now, my God, show me ROI. Show me how this person is completely changed. After they've done 18 years of education, they've worked in your company for 10 years, but it's the 3 hours of learning that me and my team give. You want to see business changing ROI impact. Real skills, anything hard is hard because it is hard to do. And it takes time. Nothing important happens overnight. Do you have the patience to understand which skill needs how much time, right? Before you ask these questions of whoever, whether your own internal academies, internal trainers, or if learning companies like us that you get on board. So I think great things require patience, but yes, what they need is sure, small action every day. This is like training for a marathon, trying to lose weight, eating right, monitoring your blood pressure. None of that will change. You won't lose 10 kgs if that's what you want to do in 2 weeks, but you also won't lose it if you don't eat right every day for 8 months. And I think that combination of having the patience to get to the large, ambitious goals, but doing the practice every day, again, a super important advantage that online learning and self-paced learning brings to you, because the fact is, however inspiring, I can have Barack Obama stand here and give us all a speech on body language and presence. How many of us will get change and be able to have the skills of oratory and presence that he has? We can't. We can't till we stand up here and once a week do a presentation ourselves or create a presentation ourselves, right? This is the most inspiring man in the world. If he can't change us in 90 minutes, the chances are not others can. How do you design learning programs for habit and practice every day? Instead of workshop highs and event highs that are great to take photos of and share in groups to say, hey, we did something. Those are important as well. But will they get the job done? Maybe they're more important for engagement and connection than they are for true skill buildings and skills acquisition. But are we deciding which programs are you optimizing engagement and connection for, but calling them really learning when they are actually engagement and connection programs, and which programs are truly about skills acquisition? Are we asking ourselves those questions? Last one. This is my, we had a large Indian conglomerate as a client, and I call all online learners first generation learners, including myself. We are, right? This is the first time. Not very different from how when people started reading books. Books was the big, people said, oh my God, how can you read a book? Only the Bible was a book. Say, unless actually someone stands in front of me, how can, without the Guru Shishya Parampara, and I'm actually sitting at my Guru's feet, how will I ever learn? And books are so scary. They can take people astray. Book was a new learning technology, as something else is today, right? And so this large Indian conglomerate who we were working with, they gave us 50 learners, middle to senior, with 5 asynchronous self-paced courses. And we on self-paced courses of first generation online learners, right? We got to 90% completion. Yet our team, my team, as well as the client, was so worried. Oh my God, it took so much effort. We had to do learning sprints. We sent nudges. We do a lot of this behavior psychology nudges, honor roles, accountability partners. Like, you throw all the problems at the whatever. And when the data was shared with me, I was actually thrilled because I was like, that's what great educators do. That's what great parents do. That great siblings do. They don't let you quit. They make it happen. But it's never easy. How is anything ever easy? But if we really care, do we leave people at it? And if we really care, do we judge the learner who doesn't? Do we do that to our child or our best friend? No, we help them, we support them. And why do we believe that learning should be easy so that completion numbers or engagement numbers should, I've assigned program, I've activated, I've got this learning company. Now, of course, I should get 80% completion. But why? I feel like there's so much misplaced value on effortlessness when we all know that really meaningful things require effort. It's a good thing. They are effortful. Learning is a cognitive art. It's a cognitive muscle. It feels tough. And maybe people say I'm disengaged or it's boring because it is tough. But do you leave it because it's tough? And then what does that make you? And if you judge somebody because they didn't do it, what does that make us? Right? So I think this thing about the misplaced value of effortlessness is a really, really important. That's why I told my team and the client, why did you think it was going to be easy? This is the first time they've learned in this manner. How is the first time of anything easy, right? Was the first time you got onto riding a bicycle easy or swimming or driving, or think of any big thing you've done for the first time. Never feels easy, it always feels scary, you always feel like a fool. When you feel like a fool, you don't feel confident. Often you externalize the blame to say this doesn't work, that doesn't work. But essentially you're feeling lost or you're struggling, right? And I think this, the sugar high of ease is, Julie Dirksen has written this fantastic book on how people learn. And I think she gave me the best analogy, and we've used her at Harappa as well, and I've read her book. She's like, it's like driving on an American highway. For 200 kilometers, you're on cruise control. There's nothing in front of you. Are you your most engaged? No, people. There's so many accidents that happen because people sleep on the whatever. Said great learning happens at the intersection of when something is not so easy that you get bored and go into cruise control, but not so tough that you get intimidated, right? How are we creating the right level of difficulty, whether it's on the new formats that we're exposing our learners to, or whatever it is that we're making them. So that's my last principle. This is again sort of to tie back a call to action. The fact is, even not for ourselves, for our company, our teams, everything, I think just where we are in the moment of time, in the moment of history of our country, I think we all owe it to ourselves and anybody else we have charge of, right, or a custodianship of, to at least try and be our best selves. Here, of course, is a self-confessed product plug after all of this on our new platform called Trivacity, which is, of course, an
Let's play a game. Ready.
And I think we have a little video for you that we can play also. But while they're bringing that up, I'm very happy to take questions, and thank you for your time. And sorry about the gyan, but they said thought leader.
Let's
so
play
I
a game.
Took that seriously.
Ready.
And just because one has been thinking a lot, we speak to people in the learning community, and these are all the questions we are asked. And so when I was given the chance, I said, okay, let me say my piece. Is the video coming on?
Let's play a game. Ready. Let's play a game. Ready.
What is an elephant doing in a city?
Bingo.
Hello, I'm Pramath Raj Sinha.
I'm Sudeep Chabra.
I'm Shomak Ghoshal. In this Thrive Master, I want to share with you 5 tips.
Why curiosity is the new super skill for leaders.
Why is empathy a skill you can't do without?
Curiosity is the fuel for discovery.
And will make anything you write sparkle.
It can transport us into the mind of someone else.